Deuteronomy, the 31st chapter, the 6th verse. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or tremble in dread before them. For it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. We're not here alone. We just have to sit up and look for them signs from the universe. Have to keep an open mind. So I appreciate you all for coming to check me out today. And we're talking about courage. Now, courage is the bridge between the lower self and the higher self. It is the point where you stop running from life and start walking into truth, even when it's hard. Now, courage doesn't mean you ain't scared. It means you make that move anyway. Now, we're about to expose the trap that religion has put in most of our minds. Now, religion tells us to obey and be safe, but truth says trust and walk anyway. Religion made people feel security came from doing everything right. But courage says, even when it don't make sense, I know who walks with me. Courage is the first step up the ladder of enlightenment, from religion into enlightenment. It is where the game changes from survival into intentional creation. We stop asking for signs and start being the signal. When you walking in the spirit, fear ain't even in your vocabulary. Think of it this way, because we have to shift this energy. And in order for us to shift our energy, we have to understand what's going on with us. I'm going to say, for instance, we standing at a locked door, and we trying our best to mess with the handles to get the door open, but the door just won't open. We waiting on somebody from the outside to give us the key to unlock the door. Sometimes we feel stuck, unsure, but when we step into courage, it's like walking out in the open road. We realize then that we don't need no outside validation. We don't need no key. We had to stop waiting at that closed door and start moving our feet. We won't block. We was waiting on permission that we didn't even need. Now, for some of the people that say that yin and yang is demonic, and I'm going to put the symbol down here. I had a couple people say that on my post. But they say the lack of knowledge is what get people. So I'm about to break this down for you all so we can have that understanding, so we'll be able to recognize what's going on in our surroundings. The yin is your inward self, and the yang is the outward expression. The inward energy and the outward energy. Yin is inward, receptive, hidden, intuitive, emotional, spiritual, passive. And the yang is dealing with the outward expression, action-based, physical, visible, aggressive. They are complementary forces, not good or evil. Remember, yin focus on your inner self, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your feelings. And yang is the outer world, your action, behavior, and expression. Courage is halfway through the enlightenment chart, and I'm going to put the chart up here in the right-hand corner. Now, since your yin dealing with your inner self, the fear of rejection, emotional withdrawal, that's the lower frequency version. Now, the higher frequency version is inner trust, intuitive bravery. Now, we're dealing with the yang, the outer, and how the lower frequency will look. You avoid action, shrinking yourself, and you waiting, being stagnant. Now, when you're vibrating at your higher frequency version, confident moving, and you speaking truth boldly. I'm going to give you all some examples on yin and yang, the lower vibration and the higher vibrations. Now, the inner yin, dealing with courage. It's like, I don't trust myself. I need something else to say it's okay. But when you're vibrating on a higher frequency, it's, I trust what's inside of me, even when it's scary. Remember that the yin focus on your inner self, and the yang focus on the outer, on the physical realm. The lower frequency for yang is you shrink yourself, you stay silent, or wait to be chosen. The higher vibrating frequency is I take the step even when I'm shaking. So you're going to make that move anyway. Courage is the entry point into power. It's not the destination, it's the door. And I'm going to put up here, if you all want to screenshot it and save it for later, so you can recognize what's going on with you or where you're vibrating at, so you can be able to be at one with the God within us. Because remember, we have to be good shepherds to our sheep. So we're going to have to always be on top of ourselves the rest of our lives, so we'll know where we at, if we are at one with the God that is within us, or if we are separated from the God that is within us, by understanding our emotions and also being on top of their ego, so we can go ahead and tithe that 10%, that ego. The opposite of courage is apathy. Courage says, I care enough to try, and apathy say, it doesn't matter anyway. Courage is movement. Apathy is surrender. Courage feels like the fear and acts anyway. Apathy feels the fear and gives up before even trying. I know it's a lot of us that done gave up, or something told us to make this move, but then we at times be like, that seems like it's too hard, or I don't think that I'm good enough for this job. Because I used to say all the time, I don't even trust myself. But now it's like I was moving in lower vibrating states because I'm knowing that now by having the knowledge. So now I can peak game and be on top of that. Like, nah, we got to get up out of that lower vibration. Because apathy on the frequency scale is a 50, when courage is 200, halfway to enlightenment, to being at one with the God within us. In order for us to be with the God that is within us, we have to go against that ego where apathy sits at. That gives us our coping mechanisms. Because if we don't make that move, we're moving in fear. When we say we're not good enough, that's apathy. All of that is lower vibrating states. Make that move, go against fear, move in courage. We on that high vibrating frequency, and that's all about elevation. That's what elevation is about. Courage is movement. Apathy is surrender. Courage feels the fear and acts anyway. Apathy feels the fear and gives up before trying. So I'm about to break this down to courage and apathy, the energy breakdown. Now, courage is at a level of 200 and apathy a level of 50. Courage say, I will act even if I'm afraid. Apathy say, what's the point? Courage feels fear but choose to move. Apathy feels hopeless and stays silent, stays still. Fear takes responsibilities for outcomes, and apathy avoids actions and expects nothing to change. Fear feels like I can do something, and apathy feels like I can't make a difference. Y'all see the difference? With looking at it from that aspect, you can even feel the energetic shift when you looking at courage and apathy. Understanding the yin is dealing with your inner self. And whatever that's going on as within, as without. So that's why we have to make sure our inner self is at one with the God that is within us by being on the right frequency. Courage balance is when you have trust within yourself and faith, then you'll take bold actions. When your inside is imbalanced or vibrating low, you'll be in panic mode, or you over hustle, and as within as without. And how it will look in this physical realm, it will be reckless pride masking fear. Imbalanced apathy is inner hopelessness, and how it looks on the outside is you be detached and avoidance. So that's why it's good to know where you are at, so you'll be able to check yourself right quick, get on the right track, so you can always be at one with the God that is within you. Sometimes we're going to stumble, but that's why we have to recognize what's going on with us, so we can go ahead and get back where we're supposed to be at. So thank you for rocking with me and giving me this opportunity to show you what the Spirit has brought to my attention. Remember that courage is showing up for your life, but apathy is saying it ain't worth it, even when your soul knows better. So we have to recognize what's going on within us, the yin energies. We are spiritual beings having an earthly experience. Everything that's with us is based off of energy all around us. And that's why they say the lack of knowledge is what's hindering the people. And with people coming up saying that yin and yang is demonic, all you have to do is just do your research. Once you make that conscious decision to be on top of yourself, to see where you're at on a vibrating scale, understanding that whatever that goes on within you is what manifests here on this physical realm. And our God is always working, but it depends on the God of your universe. If you don't have no peace within, if you have a lot of chaos going on, pride, sorrow, depression, not taking accountability for your actions, being detached, then that's what's going to show up in your outer world. We have to bring more peace. We have to get rid of that stuff the ego have put up. That's why they say tithe to 10%. So we can be able to listen to our higher self, the Holy Spirit, infinite intelligence, the universe, the God that is within you, whichever you prefer, because it's your world. I know at times it get kind of exhausting staying on top of yourself. But if you make that conscious decision to do that daily, in time, you wouldn't even be knowing what you be doing. All you'll notice is the good things that the universe has brought your way for you being a good and faithful servant.